conversations are good. And that's how we bring people together, and that's how we make the world a better place.
Welcome to StaffBuffalo's Pain Points Podcast.
Welcome to the next episode of the Pain Points Podcast. I have Kay Devealt here. She's the Palsy Power Chick and founder of Palsy Power Chick Innovations. Thank you so much for having us out here today.
Thank you so much, Maggie.
So tell me, I want to know everything. How did you found this organization? But really start from the beginning. Tell me about yourself and your background and your history and your stories.
How I became the Palsy Power Chick, I wasn't always the Palsy Power Chick. It actually was my high school mentor and teacher who helped me become that. And it started with one speaking engagement, getting up in front of the class and telling my peers that I wanted to be accepted and included because I didn't have any friends, and he said, it's now time to change that. And now looking back on that journey, that's when I became the Palsy Power Chick, and I knew that my voice could make change.
I love that. That was the best intro I may have ever had. That's lovely. Okay, so then starting in high school.
Yeah.
Tell us the journey since then.
It's definitely been a journey, and I know someday the Palsy Power Chick is going to come out with a book, but we might need some help with that. So maybe if there's a author out there that's looking to do something on the side, I'd be all for that. But so if we're talking about after high school, when I went through school, I finished my degree, and I was so excited to get into the workforce. I'm like, I got my degree now, I'm going to be able to get a job. That wasn't the case. I applied for so many jobs, and one of the biggest barriers was something I couldn't control, which was not having a driver's license. And when I applied to I probably applied to every single human service agency in West New York.
Wow.
And I was lucky if I got maybe 5 interviews.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you were like ready to go. Now what did you want to focus on when you were ready?
When I started out, one of the things that I wanted to focus on was working in the disability field because I wanted to show people that had disabilities that they could see me and with them in the workforce together because I hadn't seen that growing up. As navigating life and as we think, I didn't see anyone like me. And I was just so excited that I could finally do that because, to be honest with you, at least with my condition, and I'm very open about who I am, so I have cerebral palsy. Not everyone with cerebral palsy can even lift their head up.
Oh, wow.
Or they can't even talk. It's a spectrum and it affects everyone differently. So for me, that's why I work so hard. Because I think about, what if this person, their daughter's never going to be able to even tell their mother, I love them. So at least I can go work for them. That's how I look at it. So when people say, Kay, how do you stay so positive, so strong all the time? Because I think about that child that won't get the same opportunities that I have.
Oh my God, that's so touching. There we go again. Oh my God, I absolutely love that. So you're grateful for every gift that you've ever been given. I love that. Yeah, you are just a wonderful human. And yeah, I love your positive exudes. And ever since I met you years ago,
I know.
It's like you can feel it, and you can feel that you're just working to just really connect with people.
And most people, you're right, most people have said that about me. When we talk about challenges, and we're talking about that, let's go back to why I started with StaffBuffalo, right? So when I was working a job, it was remote, right? It was great, flexible, but when you work in human services, and I know people that might watch this, they're going to be like, oh yeah. It's a very demanding job. So I had to deal with a lot of paperwork. I could never take time off, and it was just constant, and I realized, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. As much as I want to get back to the disabled community, I can't work a job in the field and manage my own life.
And burn yourself out.
And burn myself out. So I was at that point, but then I'm like, oh my God, here we go, the daunting task of finding a job. And then I connected with your partner, Lauren, and I was just honest with her. I'm like, listen, I have a disability. I can't drive. But I'm
all the
hoping
things were coming out for that first time you were applying to that job.
All those things. And she's
all
like,
those rejections.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, I remember daunting. I'm like, I don't even want to try to do this.
So you're burning out.
I
didn't know what to do about it. Yeah.
Yes. And then, so that is one thing I remember. You guys took so much stress off my plate.
Oh, I love that. Well, trust me, you were a pleasure to work with. Because you were so upfront, so communicative. You made it easy for us to work with our clients to just work around that and just be like, hey, here's a heads up. And it was just, they were amazing, right?
Yeah. So this might sound crazy. So I work a full-time job and a nonprofit. And I started my own business. But you know, the great thing is my work, where I work, they supported me in starting my own business. How great is that?
That's amazing.
And when I tell people that, they're like shocked. They're like, oh my God, your work, they don't care that you have a business? I'm like, no, they actually support that I'm doing it.
That's amazing.
Which is
an amazing organization.
Which is great.
Yeah.
And they've seen me speak. I've done workshops at work. So
that's great.
They know where the passion really exudes. Yeah. So I decided to be like, all right, somebody heard me speak and they were like, you need to stop doing this for free. And I was like, oh, okay.
I love that.
Then it's grown into more than I thought it would. And it's still not easy, let me tell you.
You're an entrepreneur. It's never going to be easy.
Never easy.
Never easy. You got to really put yourself out there, too.
Yeah, but I think my biggest struggle, and I'm working with a business advisor, is I still feel like I'm having to prove myself. Mm-hmm. And that's the frustrating part that comes with the barriers, right? So we have barriers as entrepreneurs, but I have some additional barriers.
Because every entrepreneur feels that way, but then you're like, and then add some.
Then add some barriers. People are like, go to a networking event. If I have to take a bus to a networking event that's 30 minutes out just to get there, then go there, and then the room's so big and I can't get around because it's so crowded, I don't end up meeting people.
Yep.
Then it goes back to that same feeling of a little girl. Oh, I'm excluded.
And then it's kind of like that lunchroom mentality where you're in the corner and you're eating
That's
your lunch.
Exactly how I felt at a lot of networking events.
Because you can't work the room from a movement perspective and get around. Yeah.
Exactly. And so
but if you find a good perch, I bet you do pretty well.
Yeah.
You're the boss.
I'm doing better, but I'm also learning now. Maybe networking events aren't really my thing. Yeah. But building on relationships through social media, through people that I'm working with, and that's what I'm focusing on when it comes to networking. Not just so much about the event.
Because really tighter ones, too.
Yeah, because if it's more intimate, it's one thing, but I've noticed the bigger, larger ones, I get lost. Like the girl in the lunchroom.
And I think a lot of people feel that way, especially if you're any sort of an introvert. I consider myself an extroverted introvert. But people can easily get lost in those rooms, and I understand what you mean, too.
Right.
But then they have the added barrier, so it's okay. And I can see that, too, because when you're working your way around a networking room of 100 people, how many people do you really talk to? But you sit down and you're having, a luncheon or 20 people. It's so much easier.
Yeah. And that's what I've noticed.
Yeah. Have you joined any boards or anything?
Yes.
I know you don't have probably too much free time.
I don't, but ironically, I have been on the board for Accessible Academics now for a year and a half.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that one, though.
So, Accessible Academics, it's a local nonprofit here, very small team. It's only an executive director, and I think she has 3 staff.
Cool.
So what they do is they help individuals with disabilities through employment discovery. So this could be like, if they want to learn more about career exploration, so the executive director does workshops and programming in the high schools, which is so important. But also they have students that are currently enrolled in college, so they might link them up with a coach to help them with organizational skills, advocacy skills, learning how to advocate for accommodations. We can touch on that too. Because if you don't know those things, how are you going to be successful? Because I just had a conversation yesterday. We know what workplace accommodations are if you are an HR professional. You know that they need to be provided, right? You know that there's the law, but we all know that there's laws, but if you don't understand them, how can you implement them?
Exactly, and especially for smaller businesses or maybe people that aren't from the HR side, those smaller choosy ones, you're trying to do it. What does that actually mean?
What does that actually mean?
Yeah.
And so how do we close that gap, right? How do we stop that from happening?
How do we do that, Kay?
It's real simple. Ready?
Yeah.
It's a conversation.
There we go!
Communication. And it's what I've noticed every time, every place I've worked at, and I will say, every place I've worked at, I've either had to prove why I needed an accommodation or I was discriminated against.
Oh.
Let me say that again. Every place. What happened is, once we had that conversation, it changed.
Yeah, because then they understand it's not like they're guessing anymore, because it could have just been a miscommunication.
And
Because
a
they
lot
don't
of
know what they
time-
don't know. And they should ask.
And it was just, and I remember when I had my last situation, when we were sitting down at the table, I'm like, we had no idea. We had no idea. I'm like, so we didn't need to go through all this. We didn't need to go through all this. And guess what? Now, not only did I get the accommodation, the whole policy is no longer in the workplace. It's been totally removed.
Wow.
So not only did it benefit me, but it benefited everyone.
Moving forward.
Which is why we should create a world of universal access where everyone can thrive.
I like that. So tell me more. How do we accomplish these types of goals? Tell me, like, how do the employers, the employees, how do people work together to do this?
So I think the first step is having that conversation, right? And then also having that conversation, but looking at your values. What do you value as a company? Because you can say, oh, we believe in people, equity, and trust. I'm just throwing that out there, right? I'm just throwing that stuff out there. But if you're going to say, we're going to give you this accommodation, but we can't afford it, but you just said in your values, it's equity.
Yeah.
So if you don't give me that accommodation and I'm still struggling, but you're saying it's not in your budget, are you living by your values?
Yeah.
You know, so
Does
it's
it-
really...
And even in more of a selfish point,
Yeah, like-
you're having your employee be there, but you're not giving them the tools necessary. That's like saying, hey, you need to write a document, but you can't use Word or WordPress or Google Docs.
Right. And I think it's easy to say this is expensive, right? But if it was you, it would be different. And that's what we got to remember. It's person first. And not that I like to say this, but it is a benefit. Most of the time, a lot of these accommodations, if they are more expensive, you can write them off. It is a benefit, and I'm not saying that just...
No, it's a business expense. You're
But
100%
it's a-
correct.
And I think people have to realize, okay, so if this is more expensive for me to cover, I can put this off as a business expense, which will help me in the long run for my company. Right?
Absolutely. I have a question. Do you know of any federal or state grants that do help small businesses with any kind of accommodations?
I don't know of any specific programming, but there is. I haven't been in touch with him in a long time, but his name is Ted Barwick. He's the policy director at the West Mountain Independent Living Center, and he's been a really strong disability advocates rights activist for a long time and knows a lot about the ADA, and he would be a great resource because
Good to know.
I know he's helped me out when I had some housing situations. He had to come in and intervene in a housing situation. So I wish that there were more programs like that, but I can even say from even getting services as a person with a disability, it's hard, right? Mm-hmm. Even though this isn't related to work, it'll take 3 years since I applied for in-home modifications to be completed.
Wow.
Yeah, it took 2 years for the whole approval process. And that's for a new ramp, because even though you see my ramp out there, you probably don't know this, but it's not in compliance right now.
Oh no.
So every day
It's a risk.
I'm at a risk of falling.
Wow. And it's just like a slow process. I'm assuming like paperwork?
Yep, paperwork.
Wow.
It took 6 months for the contract. 6 months for a contract to be approved.
So one of the things that they can do to help make your life easier is to speed up the process.
Right.
That would be lovely.
Yes. And that goes, it shows in every aspect of our lives. So we talk about making a process easy. We need to do that in the community, in our lives, and in our workplaces. Like,
Absolutely.
I know we're always told, oh, you need the medical documentation for the accommodation. Look at the accommodation. Is it really, do we really need to make somebody get medical documentation to use a dictation software program? No. Because doctors are using dictation software program. Okay, let the person have the dictation. We use Siri, right? Why do we need to use medical documentation for every single accommodation?
Oh, yeah.
It's not necessary.
So it's cumbersome. The whole process is cumbersome.
And it's cumbersome for everybody.
Yeah.
And then the HR person has to review the paperwork, file it. You don't have to do all that.
And that probably scares more small businesses away, too, that don't have a designated compliance very well.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you don't even need that.
No, of course not. But when it seems complicated and it's big and scary,
Yeah.
but it's not big and scary.
No.
And it's sometimes just a dictation software, which is
I
pretty
know.
much in Microsoft most
Or
of the time.
sometimes it's just letting someone have a flexible schedule.
Yes.
Which, don't we all wish we had a flexible
Yes.
schedule, right?
Yes, I think that is important
And
nowadays.
it doesn't have to be designated as special.
Yeah, I agree. So you don't want it. So what you're saying is, can we just be inclusive? We don't need to be like, okay, you're outside in that little special
Yes.
box, like
Yes.
to yourself in the.
Like,
In
can we
the
get
room.
rid of off the application? Do you self-identify as a person with a disability? Can we just get rid of that? Can we just get rid of that, please? Let's just get rid of that. Because
What is the point of it?
I
honestly?
don't understand the point of that question, but you know what? Every time I've applied for a job, I check yes because it'll show me if they're really interested in hiring me.
Like, just speed to the end.
I'll just check it because mine is more visible, right?
Okay,
But not everybody's disability is visible.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, if I go in for an interview, they're going to see it. So I might as well just check yes. Let's just get rid of the question, really.
Yeah,
Let's just
yeah. So
get
you can
rid
have
of
the conversation.
Right.
So you're saying let's skip the paperwork and the bullshit and
Yeah.
get to the conversation.
Yes.
Meet the person. See
Yes.
if you want to hire the person.
Yeah.
And then it's not that hard. You do the accommodations and you're good to go.
Yes.
If they have what you need and you have what they need, good to go.
Right.
So it's like any other hiring situation.
Yeah.
So get past the application and check the box.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
What else can companies do? What else can people do
So
to advocate for themselves?
this is another thing too. There's so much to cover in this, but okay, let's say, and I'm seeing this a lot more. Okay, so you know me as a very strong advocate, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if it wasn't for my mentor, I don't know if I would be sitting here next to you having this conversation. I really don't. And if it wasn't for him instilling those skills, but that belief in me, like I said, I don't know where I would be. So what's happening now, and we're seeing it more and more, and kids and people that are coming up in our society, the communication skills are lacking.
Oh,
A lot of that is with COVID. And
a lot of it.
there's a lot of different factors involved. So if they're not being taught those skills, how are they going to know what accommodations that they might need, or if they know they exist?
Because if you think about it, a lot of the younger generations are going to like third spaces, no library, no restaurants as much
Right.
anymore. Like
It's
the places.
different.
Yeah,
That's
into
where
people.
you
Yeah.
could bring me in and be like, I need to bring in the Palsy Power Chick for some expertise here.
Yeah,
You know?
educate people. Hey, here I
Hey,
am.
I could do some demos for you.
Yes, I think it's important. Yeah. Things like that. Like how do we provide different?
Because here's the thing, you're an HR person, but you don't have all the answers, and it's okay.
I like that.
And I think, like, I've learned a little bit more. Like, everybody wants to see HR as the bad people, right? The bad guys. That's what
We always are like every HR meme ever. That HR person firing
But the
someone.
thing is, you have a lot of pressure on your plate, but I think what we have to remember is you're just a human being. You're a human, so it's okay to bring in other people too.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Is it like any other consultant?
You're right.
Yeah, it's
Right.
just one more thing and one more kind of, okay, this is an area that wasn't exposed yet. You don't know much about.
Right.
So once we show you, then it's not as scary.
Right.
I turn on the light.
So, is there anything else that you would like to know?
I would love to know about your lifting.
Oh.
Actually, can we start here?
Okay.
Because we can start with the color run. So you've been very athletic all this time.
Well,
Hey, don't downplay yourself, okay? So,
okay.
color, yeah, tell us
Okay,
about this
so-
kind of stuff.
The color run, okay, as you can see, that was back in 2013. So
Yeah.
that's actually when I first started working out.
Good for you.
Yeah. So the Palsy Power Chick that she was, I was like, I saw that race coming. I had no training.
No.
I literally just was like, I want to do this, so I'm going to do it.
I was there, by the way.
You were?
I did the color run that year, yeah. I did.
And as you can see, obviously I'm in the background, I was the last person that finished. Okay?
Because you can see all of
Yeah,
them cheering you on.
yes,
That's so
but
cool.
the one thing that, like, and I'll try not to
You
get emotional.
finished, though, I just want to point
I
out.
finished. It took me 2.5 hours to complete my first 5K.
Amazing.
But so obviously people knew that I was walking, and the race crew kept saying, oh, do you want us to give you I'm like, no, I have to finish. And when I got to the end, as you can see, those people in the background, they were chanting my name. And
I were with you for most of the time, right?
Yeah, and I was like,
You're friends with them.
I was like, what?
I love it.
But something even deeper that I'm not really shared. One of the race officials, he was bawling, and I'm like, can I ask you what's wrong? He's, you don't understand. My wife and I, our daughter, who's 3, had cerebral palsy, and seeing you doing that makes me realize that my daughter can do that too. So I didn't realize me just doing a walk made such a big difference.
And think about it, she's probably 16 now.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
And so that's why they named me the Color Run Hero of 2013.
How cool is that?
Because, and then,
Well,
as you
you
know,
that's why.
yeah, and then I
Yeah.
got into lifting. I've only started lifting since last year.
Good for you.
My personal trainer, I have 2.
Look at you. You're like, which personal trainer?
I have 2. They're both physical therapists too, which is cool.
That's really
I said, I want to lift. And he's, okay,
Good for
let's
you,
do
yeah.
it. And so, July 18th, I'm participating in my first deadlifting competition with non-disabled athletes.
That is so
So-
cool. I saw your LinkedIn post and it was so motivating about this. So tell me more about the accommodations that they're doing.
So again, it was advertised on Instagram, and I said, Adam, do you think I could do this? Do you think I could sign up for this? And then his coach, which I didn't even realize it was his coach, Adam, you better let her do this, or you're gonna have to do this many squats next time.
That's
So
hysterical.
then I was like, okay. So I reached out to him, and I'm like, hey, I know we haven't met, but I guess you're my trainer's coach. I just want you to know I'll need to use a box to squat as I'm pulling up the weight. Is that okay with you? Oh, I have no problem with that. I wasn't questioned. Oh, no,
Prove
that's
it.
cheating. That's cheating. It wasn't like
Give me your medical documentation, please.
Give me your medical. I wasn't asked for medical documentation if it was going to be safe.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I wasn't.
So he wasn't thinking about liability for
No.
this human wants to do this.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
So I'm so excited, and now even one of my other good friends, she's doing it, and she also has CP. And she's, do you think I should do it? And I'm like,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna have a whole crew.
So now we're gonna have 2 Palsy Power Chicks.
I
at the
love
event.
that. So she's gonna be brand, I'm hoping.
I'm hoping.
Yes. You're like, so here's your shirt.
I actually was thinking, like, maybe we should wear like Team Palsy.
You
Power
should.
Chicks.
I know I'm seeing this. This is amazing. You have about a month. You're good. And it's during Disabilities Awareness Month. That's kind of perfect.
Yep, Disability Pride Month.
Yeah, tell me more.
So, Disability Pride Month is in the month of July. And so what does that mean and why do we have it? It recognizes the Americans with Disabilities Act, which we know prohibits discrimination in many different facets: education, employment, workplace, transportation, etc. But for me, and Maggie's known me a long time, that it's not just a month. Sure, it's to recognize that historical piece, but I showcase my pride every day.
All year round.
I love it. And anybody that follows me on LinkedIn would certainly know that. So
Yeah, give her a follow.
give me a follow.
I love it. Give her a follow. She has great content. But yeah, no, I think it's absolutely wonderful. We've gone through a lot of pain points. But let's give, if you don't mind, give some advice to the CP Power Palsy people who are going to be applying for jobs and tell them to,
Sure.
yeah, tell them how to advocate for themselves. And then on the other side, the HR people, the owner, tell them what it's like. You know?
Okay, so if you're an individual, whether you have a disability that you were born with or that you acquire or might acquire in the future, just know that you have to figure out what you need. Because if you don't know what you need, your employer's not going to know how that they can help you be successful, right? They can't read their minds. So you really have to focus on what are your barriers. You need to do that, and that is your responsibility. So figure out what your barriers are.
Be able to communicate it.
Be able to communicate it, and maybe come up with some suggestions too, because again, that's part of the conversation piece, right? If
You kind of come with the solutions. Okay, here are 3 things I think would help me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what starts the conversation, right? Rather than, this is the barrier.
Don't make it a negative thing.
Yeah,
Make it a, let's come to a solution.
That's not going to help the relationship in getting what you need to be successful. Now, from an HR person or maybe just an employer, take a breath. It's okay, take a breath. It's not scary. I promise, it's not scary. I know me, I'm very bubbly, but just sit there, take a breath, and listen. Then, when you have this conversation, you write up some notes, and you go from there.
Yeah, and questions are okay.
Questions are okay. One thing that I'm very open, and I tell people this all the time, I'm very open about who I am. I'm very open about what my diagnosis is, right? But not everybody is. And
how do an employer HR? I think that's probably where they probably struggle the most.
Yes.
Yeah. So then how do you kind of?
I think everybody wants to know what's the answer, right?
Yeah.
And here's the thing: there's no answer, but there's no right or wrong answer. Is what I'm trying to say. But it starts with that trust and that relationship. And I think, and this is what I can just say from my own experience, if you get to know the person first, they'll tell you what their condition is or what they've been through. Because it's no different from you meet a friend and you bond and you guys talk about like all your personal stuff. So it's no different that when you start to build a relationship with somebody, they'll feel comfortable sharing that stuff. But I think it's important to know that it's not something you should outright ask. The moment you meet someone in 10, 15 minutes, no. Nurture the relationship. Now, I get asked by kids all the time, oh, what's wrong with her legs, Daddy, Mommy? Aww. And you know what? For some people, because I see stuff on social media all the time, and sometimes people will get back. But if somebody came up to me and asked me, okay, sure, hey, this is it. And
it might be their first exposure. And what a positive exposure then to meet you.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, oh, she was so cool.
I go, actually, my legs aren't broken. They're not broken. I said, I just use a walker to help me walk. And that's it.
Yeah.
We didn't have to go into a lot of detail. I just tell them plainly, my legs are not broken. I use a walker to help me walk. Oh, that's great. I love the purple walker. I'm like, thank you.
And it's a whole different conversation then.
Conversations are good. And that's how we bring people together, and that's how we make the world a better place.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Okay.
So how do people find you? Can you give us all your handles and where to find you?
Sure. At palsypowerchick.com is my website, so you could go on there and see what services I offer. I'm also on LinkedIn. If you just type in my name, Kay Devealt, I should come up. My name, Kay, is in parentheses. I go by Kay for short. And then I'm also on Instagram, Palsy Power Chick. That's where I post all my fitness stuff. So if you need some fitness motivation, find me there.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Pain Points podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to follow us so you never miss out on future episodes.